Hello Year 5, happy Friday, welcome to your last English lesson this week. I was really impressed with some of the work my class sent me from yesterday's lesson, so I hope you can produce some amazing work today. So start off with today's date and title. It's story opener again, but in brackets invent, not innovate, so you're going to write your own story opener. And then have a look at the total recall. What is wrong with these sentences today? Okay, let's go through these sentences. He went through the door over there. Their cat is the sweetest. They're going to the movies. You might have noticed that all the wrong theirs. So it should have been, I changed it through the door. He went in the door over there. T-H-E-R-E. Remember that word there has got here in it as well. So think of that as the place one. There, E-I-R. Their cat is the sweetest. It's the one that belongs to somebody, so that ownership one. And it has an I in it, so think I belong. And then they are, in this little diagram, in this little poster, they've replaced the apostrophe for an A, just to remind you. So that one was they're going to the movies, as in they are going to the movies. Well done if you spotted those and you got them correct. So today your task is going to be to write your own story opener, your invent. I'd like you to just pause the screen and have a think about who you'd like your characters to be. If I was you, I would base your characters on family members because you know your family members really well and you'll have a really detailed story. Where is your story going to be set? Again, base that somewhere you know really well. So it could be set in your own home. It could be set in your garden. It could be set at a special place to you and your family. So set it somewhere you know well and have characters that you know well. And what are your characters going to discover? So what's going to be that thing they find? So in yesterday's lesson, we had the spell book that the teacher found. However, I didn't actually say that they found a spell book. Today in my invent, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the thing that in my story they find. So have a little think about those things. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is just roughly storyboard your ideas. Okay, thinking about who, where and what they find. I'm going to show you my plan now. So you can, if you want to, in your book, just draw some little squares and write who, where and what, and draw a little picture for each one and a couple of words underneath just to summarise what your pictures are about. Only spend about 15 minutes on this, just get it clear in your head what you're going to do. So my who are going to be sisters. They're called Lamorna and Carenza. They're Cornish names because my where is going to be a Cornish beach. I think I'm actually going to picture Boiler Beach in my head while I'm writing this. And my what is the sisters, Lamorna and Carenza, are going to find this like curious glass ball, almost like a crystal ball. But when you look in it, it shows you whatever you wish for. Okay, so spend 15 minutes just planning your who, where and what for your story, for your invent. Pause the screen there if you want my ideas in front of you to help you. You can just draw the boxes in your book or just do it on a scrap piece of paper. Okay, so toolkit time. Exactly the same as yesterday. Capital letters for proper nouns, that's people's names and places. Adverbials of where for bronze. Silver, I'd like you to include fronted adverbials with a comma and an expanded noun phrase. Oh, I didn't change that, did I? Adjective, comma, adjective, noun. No comma there. Gold is the adverbial clauses. So remember, a clause is a group of words with a verb in it. So we're going to look for a group of words with a verb in it that says where, when or how for the adverbial clause. A relative clause, I'm going to do one today to make sure I get that in. So that starts with a relative pronoun, who, which or that. They're the easiest ones to remember. And then challenge is that punctuation for parenthesis. So thinking about how you can include brackets and really trying to be thinking about using ambitious vocabulary. Like I said yesterday, feel free to use the internet and thesauruses and things like that to upscale your vocabulary. Okay, it's time for me to model write my story for you. Now, when I write my story, you're more than welcome to use this and change parts like you did yesterday if you want a bit of a guide. Or you could just sort of go for it. So it had been I'm going to use humid, which means like almost a bit damp in the air. Humid, searing, that's like searing hot. Searing summer in Cornwall. So you can already see, year 5, that I have used an expanded noun phrase because I've just described summer, the noun, with 2 adjectives before it, and I've used a capital letter for a proper noun for Cornwall, and I've actually used an adverbial of where because I've said where in summer. Now I'm going to introduce my characters, my 2 sisters. They need capital letters for their names. Lamorna and Carenza. Now I'm going to put a relative clause in. Now remember, you could punctuate your relative clause with brackets, dashes or a comma. Who were sisters? Just to give a bit more detail to my reader so they know that they're sisters. I'm putting commas around mine. Spent long summers evenings searching for curiosities. So rather than just saying things, interesting things, I've used the word curiosities. I'm going to add another adverbial of where now. On the beaches of, capital letter for my place. I'm actually not going to say Boiler Beach, I'm just going to say Whitsand Bay because there's lots of beaches in there. And then I might say on their favourite beach, there, it belongs to them. Just like that starter in the Total Recall. On their favourite beach, that's a fronted adverbial, so it needs a comma. It's a fronted adverbial of where, isn't it? On their favourite beach, the sun was... I'm just going to set the scene a little bit more. So I'm just going to describe the sunset. The sun was beginning to set. Let's add a bit more information to that. Let's say scattering long red lines. Let's do an adverbial of where, across the ocean. Full stop. Now I need to say a little bit more about my characters, don't I? So what are they doing? Let's say Lamorna. Now think about your names. Try and make them so it works with your story. So I'm doing a Cornish sort of setting, so I thought Cornish names would work. Lamorna was daydreaming. Let's add more to our character by saying she was daydreaming as usual, so that you can infer that that character's usually just daydreaming, not really doing things. And Carenza was scanning the beach. So rather than saying searches for curiosities this time, I'm going to use a different verb. So I'm going to say she was scanning the beach for anything that caught her eye. Full stop. Now we want to introduce the thing that they're going to find. So I'm going to say I kind of want to say like hidden, and we used concealed yesterday, didn't we? But something poking out of the sand. Oh, I know a good word for that. Protruding. That means poking out of, coming out of. Protruding out of the, we could put an expanded noun phrase in here rather than just saying sand. We could say the golden speckled sand was, now I don't want to say it's a crystal ball. I want to sort of entice my reader in a little bit more. So I'm just going to say like the top of what looked like a, let's say glass sphere, because that was one of our topic words last term, wasn't it, in space, sphere. So we're not saying it's a crystal ball yet, we're just saying it looks like a glass sphere, a glass ball. As carenza, so now I'm going to use, as carenza, I'm going to use an adverbial clause now, because I'm going to say gently, or as an adverb as well, gently moved, and there's my verb, moved the sand away from the dome. Now that's a fronted adverbial clause, as carenza gently moved the sand away from the dome. She found, we can think of a better word than that, revealed a multicoloured we could do another expanded noun phrase, a multicoloured, mesmerising. Let's add curiosity around this thing. Now we could say crystal ball. Right, we need to kind of start to think about leaving the end of this paragraph, I think, now. So we're going to leave our reader with even more curiosity. She stared deep into the centre. I almost want to say that she didn't touch it. Let's say refraining from touching it. Oh, let's leave it with a bit of a cliffhanger and say she couldn't believe her eyes. She couldn't, contraction, apostrophe there for could not, believe her eyes, exclamation mark. Wow, I'm just going to see if I can refocus that a little bit for you. There we go, went a bit blurry. Okay, so I'm now going to underline some things that you can change if you want to use mine as a bit of a guide. So it had been a, you can think about what time of year or where you are and maybe the expanded noun phrase. It had been a humid, searing summer in Cornwall. Lamorna and Carenza, obviously you can choose your own names. Who were, you can give me some extra detail there, or I didn't cross my T. Who were sister, that doesn't make sense either, does it? Who were sisters, comma, spent long summer's evenings searching for curiosities. What did they do? Now, long summer's evenings searching for curiosities is just a bit extra, isn't it? So we could say who were searching for curiosities, but what are your characters doing and where are they? On their favourite beach, so that's our fronted adverbial that you could change. The sun was beginning to set, so it might be rising. Oh no! Right, set. My pencil's broken. Let me get another one. So what could your sun be doing? Or the moon maybe, depending on what you're going to do, or the shadows like we did yesterday. Add a little bit of extra detail for your reader. Lamorna was daydreaming. What was your character doing? As usual, Carenza was scanning the beach for anything that caught her eye. What's your character doing? Then where is your thing going to be? Where is it going to be hidden in something? Like the spell book was hidden under the shelf, covered in cobwebs. Mine is, my strange crystal ball is protruding. I've done it again. I'm going to have to change colours. Right. Don't break the pencil this time, Mrs. Lee. Protruding out of the golden speckled sand. So where is your item? And then describe maybe what it looked like. Looked like what? Mine said a glass sphere, but what would yours look like? And then what's she going to do? As she gently, how is she going to move whatever it's round or in? What does she reveal? She revealed a, oh, I'm smudging, multicoloured, mesmerising what? She stared deeply into it. What did your character do? Did they stare deeply into it, refraining from touching it, or did they pick it up? And then how are you going to end yours? Are you going to say, she couldn't believe her eyes, or you'll never guess what happened? You can decide how yours ends. So I'm going to go back to my toolkit now, tick off what I've included, and then I'll end the lesson, and at the very end of the lesson I'll leave this up so that you can see it and pause the screen and do yours. Okay, so in my invent I included capital letters for proper nouns because Cornwall, Carenza and Lamorna all had proper nouns. I said where, I said it was in Cornwall and on Whitsand Bay Beach and in the sand. I used a fronted adverbial because I said on their favourite beach and I popped a comma after that. I used expanded noun phrases because I said golden speckled sun and multicoloured mesmerising crystal ball. I used an adverbial phrase because I said, as Carenza gently moved the sand away from the dome. I used a relative clause because I said who were sisters. I didn't use brackets. I did use some commas, so I can maybe give myself a little tick over there, but I didn't use brackets and dashes. I think you can do that though. And I'm pretty impressed with my ambitious vocabulary because I remembered to use words like protruding and humid searing and mesmerising rather than just poking out of. Okay, so that's what I've included today. I really enjoyed reading your work yesterday, so make sure you send copies and photographs of your work to your teachers because we're really enjoying seeing what you're all getting up to. And well done, Year 5. You've been absolutely amazing this week and you should be really proud of yourselves. I'm going to go back to my writing now and leave it on the screen so that you can pause it. Have a great day, Year 5. Bye.